On this episode, we're heading into the heart of Scotland's central belt, a place where the skies have whispered secrets for decades. A quiet triangle of land bordered by Falkirk, Stirling and Cumbernauld has become known for something extraordinary. Here, towns like Bonnybridge have reported more UFO sightings per capita than almost anywhere else on Earth. Eyewitnesses speak of glowing orbs, silent black triangles, missing time, and encounters that defy all explanation. The government has offered no answers. The locals are certain something is going on. And the phenomena, it shows no sign of stopping. This isn't science fiction, it's a real mystery unfolding above the rooftops of everyday homes. Let us take a step into the Falkirk Triangle. Before we talk about what's in the skies, we need to understand what's on the ground. The Falkirk Triangle is not marked on any official map. It's an invisible zone that stretches roughly between the towns of Falkirk, Stirling and Cumbernauld in the heart of central Scotland. It's a land of contrasts, ancient and modern, rural and industrial. Much of the area is made up of quiet moorland, rolling hills, forestry plantations and pockets of farmland. There are winding bee roads where headlights vanish into the mist, and old Roman paths that cut across the land like scars from a distant age. And then there are the towns, Bonnybridge, Denny, Grangemouth, Slammanon, once working-class strongholds of coal, iron and shipping, now quieter but still humming with life. Beneath the surface of this triangle lie layers of history, ancient standing stones, Iron Age forts, Roman ruins, and forgotten battlefields. The land remembers things. It's also worth noting that the area sits near major power lines, military air corridors and Grangemouth oil refinery, one of the largest industrial sites in Scotland. Some believe this mixture of ancient energies and modern technology could be more than coincidence. The skies here are often overcast. The weather is changeable. On some nights the clouds seem to press down low, muting sound and cloaking the stars. On others the atmosphere feels charged, as if something unseen is stirring just beyond the tree line. This is the land beneath the mystery, familiar to those who live here, foreign to those who look too closely, and, for reasons still unclear, it seems to be a magnet for the unknown. While the Falkirk Triangle is best known for its UFO activity, strange lights in the sky are only part of the story. This land seems steeped in the uncanny. Ghost sightings, poltergeist activity and folkloric entities have long been part of the local landscape, whispered about in pubs and passed down through families who have lived here for generations. In the town of Larbert, residents have reported sightings of a spectral figure dressed in old military garb, said to vanish when approached. Some believe he's the spirit of a soldier from the Battle of Falkirk in 1746, still marching his last route. In Stirling, just to the north of the triangle, the historic Stirling Castle is known for its hauntings, among them the Pink Lady and Green Lady, both of whom have been seen by staff and visitors alike. Some even claim to have heard disembodied footsteps echoing through empty stone corridors. And then there's Callender House in Falkirk, an old manor steeped in history. Visitors have reported cold spots, sudden nausea, and the feeling of being watched, particularly in the basement kitchens and servant quarters. There are tales of black dogs too, large, shaggy beasts with glowing red eyes, said to stalk lonely rural roads in the dead of night. In some traditions, they're omens, in others, guardians, but always otherworldly. And of course, missing time and phantom sounds aren't just linked to UFOs. Some hikers have reported losing hours in the surrounding forests, emerging confused and disoriented. Others speak of hearing unidentifiable humming noises, low-frequency sounds that seem to come from nowhere and stop just as suddenly. All of this suggests one thing. The Falkirk Triangle isn't just a place of aerial oddities. It may be something deeper, a thin place, as the Celtic folklore would say, a place where the veil between worlds grows thin. The modern UFO wave that would define the Falkirk Triangle truly began in the early 1990s, but reports of strange aerial phenomena in the region go back much further. In the 1970s and 80s, a handful of scattered, largely overlooked sightings began to emerge from the area. Farmers reported seeing bright lights over their fields. Hill walkers described glowing orbs hovering above treetops, following them in silence. Most were dismissed, written off as weather balloons, stars, or imagination, but those who saw them never forgot. One of the earliest recorded incidents comes from the late 1970s, just outside Grangemouth, near the sprawling oil refinery. A night watchman reported seeing a triangular craft, completely silent, gliding over the site with 3 glowing lights on its underside. No aircraft was scheduled, no explanation ever came. In 1983, a local couple driving near Denny claimed a circular metallic object hovered above their car for nearly 30 seconds before shooting off at incredible speed. They reported electrical interference, the car's radio cut out, and the dashboard lights flickered violently. And then came 1992, the moment everything changed. A man named James Walker, driving near Bonnybridge, spotted a strange, glowing craft blocking the road. It wasn't just hovering, it was low, metallic, and utterly silent. He stopped the car, staring at it in disbelief, until the object rose and shot into the sky. Walker went to the press, and suddenly he wasn't alone. Dozens of people in Bonnybridge came forward. Parents, school teachers, factory workers, all reporting similar sightings. Strange lights, structured craft, humming noises in the sky, and feelings of paralysis or lost time. One local councillor, Billy Buchanan, began documenting the reports. By the mid-90s, he claimed over 300 sightings a year were being reported in the area. This wasn't an isolated incident anymore. It was a pattern, and Bonnybridge was fast becoming the UFO capital of Britain. These early encounters were striking not just for their frequency but for their consistency. Triangular shapes, low, silent flight, lights at each point, sudden accelerations, interference with electronics. It all pointed to something structured, something intelligent, something uninvited. And the witnesses? They weren't fringe believers. Many were reluctant, often frightened. Most had no prior interest in UFOs, and yet their stories were hauntingly alike. So what exactly was flying above Falkirk, Stirling and Bonnybridge in those years? And why were so many people seeing the same thing? As reports flooded in throughout the 1990s, a pattern began to emerge, not just in the shape of the craft or the lights in the sky, but in the lives of the people who saw them. These weren't brief glimpses. These were life-altering encounters. Take Elizabeth McLean, a retired nurse from Bonnybridge. In 1993, she was walking her dog along a rural lane at dusk when she spotted a black triangular object in the sky. She described it as massive, absolutely silent, just hanging there above the trees like it was watching me. Her dog froze and began whimpering. Then the craft slowly moved across the sky, completely noiseless, and disappeared over the hills. Elizabeth suffered recurring nightmares for months afterward, not of the craft, but of bright lights bursting through her bedroom window. She never walked that path alone again. Then there's Mark Rennie, a delivery driver from Cumbernauld. In 1995, while parked on a back road near Slamanan, he claims his entire van was lit up by a beam of bluish-white light from above. His engine cut out. His phone went dead. And for what felt like seconds, he couldn't move, like he was locked in place. When it was over, the craft shot skyward and vanished in silence. But when Mark checked the time, he realized over an hour had passed. He'd experienced missing time, a recurring element in Falkirk Triangle sightings. Mark later reported suffering from severe anxiety and described becoming obsessed with the stars, unable to stop watching the skies every night. One of the most chilling reports comes from a school teacher who, along with 2 colleagues, witnessed a formation of 3 triangular craft hovering silently over a field outside of Denny in broad daylight. They all saw it. They all reported it. But she said the most disturbing part wasn't the sighting itself. It was the response. No one believed us. The school asked us not to talk about it. People laughed. But we all saw the same thing. I felt like reality had cracked and everyone else just went back to pretending. For many, that's the real trauma. Not just the event, but the aftermath. The isolation, ridicule, or silence that follows. Some moved away, others became reclusive. A few turned to UFO research or spiritualism, and a handful never spoke publicly again. These weren't people seeking fame or attention. They were ordinary individuals who, in a single moment, had their world turned upside down by something unexplainable. And decades later, they're still asking the same question: why here? Why me? And what really happened that night? One of the most unsettling accounts comes from a Bonnybridge woman referred to in reports as Mrs. H. She went public in the mid-1990s after claiming she had been repeatedly visited by figures in her bedroom, tall, thin humanoids with large black eyes and greyish skin. She described waking in the middle of the night, unable to move, while the figures stood silently at the foot of her bed. They weren't dreams, she said. I was awake, the room was cold, and I could feel them watching me. On one occasion, she reported finding strange triangular marks on her skin the next morning, as well as a metallic taste in her mouth. Doctors could find no explanation. Another case involves Robert Miller, a council worker from Falkirk, who in 1994 claimed he was taken aboard a craft after his vehicle was engulfed in a brilliant white light. He described a sensation of floating and said he awoke lying on a cold metallic table, surrounded by 3 humanoid beings who communicated with him telepathically. They didn't speak, but I could feel what they were thinking. They were curious, clinical. They didn't mean harm, but they didn't feel human either. After the experience, Robert became withdrawn. He suffered from nightmares, sudden panic attacks, and developed an unexplained aversion to certain electrical sounds. Another witness, a teenager at the time, described a roadside encounter near Slamanan with a small glowing figure, childlike in size but clearly non-human, with elongated limbs and a large head. The figure reportedly vanished in a flash of blue light after being spotted. And in several cases, people have described telepathic messages, a sudden intrusion of thoughts or impressions that seem to come from an external source during or after a sighting. Messages warning of environmental destruction, nuclear danger, or cryptic phrases like, "You are not ready, we are watching." These are not easy stories. They come with fear, ridicule, and sometimes trauma. But what's striking is how consistent many of them are. Tall greys, black eyes, missing time, marks on the body, emotional aftershocks. If these were isolated dreams or fantasies, we'd expect chaos and contradiction. But again and again, across countries and continents, and here, in the quiet hills of central Scotland, the stories echo one another. So what are these witnesses really experiencing? Psychological episodes, recovered trauma, or something that reaches beyond the veil of accepted reality? As the sightings over Bonny Bridge and the wider Falkirk Triangle began to pile up in the early 1990s, it didn't take long for the story to reach beyond sleepy Scottish towns. The press took notice, and so did television. What began as a few isolated reports quickly turned into front-page news, with headlines like UFOs over Scotland and the Bonny Bridge mystery appearing in national tabloids. Local councillor Billy Buchanan played a key role in bringing attention to the phenomenon. He took the reports seriously, documenting sightings, interviewing witnesses, and even going so far as to petition the UK government to open an official investigation. Buchanan wrote to the Ministry of Defence multiple times requesting answers. He received standard replies stating that the sightings were of no defence significance, but the silence only deepened the mystery. In the absence of a formal inquiry, civilian UFO researchers stepped in. Figures like Malcolm Robinson, founder of Strange Phenomena Investigations, SPI, spent years gathering witness statements, maps and timelines. He described Bonny Bridge as having some of the most compelling and consistent UFO reports in the UK. Robinson's work brought a more systematic approach to the mystery, linking sightings across time, analysing patterns, and comparing them with global cases. Meanwhile, the television cameras arrived. The Falkirk Triangle was featured in numerous documentaries and TV specials throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, including appearances on Strange But True, ITV's Beyond Belief, and later UFO Files on the History Channel. These shows interviewed witnesses, recreated sightings with actors, and presented eerie aerial maps marking the wave of reports. On screen, Bonny Bridge became Britain's answer to Roswell. But media attention was a double-edged sword. While it brought awareness and validation to some, it also brought skepticism, mockery, and ridicule. Witnesses were sometimes portrayed as eccentric, and the idea of aliens in central Scotland became the butt of talk show jokes. Yet, the sightings didn't stop, and for many, the increased attention only legitimized what they'd seen. Researchers and journalists from across Europe and the United States came to Bonny Bridge to investigate. Sightings were mapped, timelines created, and still no official explanation ever came. By the late 1990s, the media frenzy died down, but the witnesses never stopped looking up, and the investigators never really left. Because something strange had taken hold of this quiet part of Scotland, and the cameras, briefly, had only scratched the surface. Some investigators believe that what's being seen over the Falkirk Triangle isn't extraterrestrial, but military. Just west of the triangle lies RAF Machrihanish, a now decommissioned base long rumoured to be linked to top-secret aircraft testing, possibly even hosting American black-budget programs in collaboration with the UK. Though it's over 100 miles away, Machrihanish has been cited in numerous theories involving hypersonic spy planes, particularly a rumoured aircraft known as Aurora, a triangular silent craft that fits exactly the description given by countless witnesses around Bonny Bridge and Falkirk. Then there's the presence of low-flying military aircraft corridors that crisscross the region. Locals have reported seeing unmarked black helicopters, often after a UFO sighting, as if someone was monitoring the skies or retrieving something. Some researchers suggest these craft may be part of an effort to test experimental stealth technologies, and that the witnesses, unknowingly, became observers of hardware that wasn't supposed to be seen. Even more intriguingly, the area around Grangemouth, with its vast oil refinery and heavy infrastructure, is thought to contain underground military-grade bunkers, some dating back to the Cold War. Could some of the strange lights seen rising from forested areas or disappearing into hillsides actually be linked to hidden entrances? Former MOD insiders have admitted that some UFO reports received by the British government were in fact sightings of classified aircraft, but they rarely specify which ones. Then there's the silence. Despite hundreds of sightings, there has never been a formal, transparent investigation from the Ministry of Defense. Local politicians like Billy Buchanan were repeatedly stonewalled when requesting answers. Was this because there was nothing to report, or because there was something to hide? Even some UFO researchers believe the truth behind the Falkirk Triangle may lie not in another galaxy, but in a hidden hangar, buried beneath the hills or flying silently above them. And if that's true, the question shifts. Is the government protecting us from something out there, or from something they've created themselves? Some believe the Falkirk Triangle hides a far stranger truth, the presence of a secret alien base. This theory suggests that beneath the rolling hills, dense forests and abandoned quarries of the area lie hidden tunnels, caverns or underground complexes, somewhere aliens have made a home here on Earth. For decades, locals have spoken of unexplained disappearances, strange sounds echoing from the forests at night, and lights shining from places where no roads or paths exist. Some witnesses report seeing strange craft disappear behind hills or fly low enough to disappear into the ground, fueling speculation that entrances to this base are well camouflaged or even part of the natural landscape. The idea of alien bases isn't unique to Scotland, of course. Rumours of such hidden facilities exist worldwide, from the deserts of Nevada to the mountains of Russia. But the Falkirk Triangle has its own special place in this lore. Former military personnel, some anonymous, others speaking out, have hinted at underground facilities off-limits to civilians and shielded from satellite detection. Locals tell of strange, glowing orbs hovering near abandoned mines or quarries, lights that vanish as soon as you approach. Others claim that animals behave oddly near these locations, refusing to enter certain areas or fleeing in panic. Then there are stories of missing hikers and nighttime wanderers who enter the woods and return disoriented or not at all. Some believe these people stumbled upon the base's perimeter and were taken inside for reasons unknown. While no concrete evidence has ever emerged, no official documents, no whistleblower confirmations, the consistency of these reports is striking. Are these underground complexes real? Are they the source of the UFO activity? And most chillingly, if this base exists, what exactly is going on inside? The Falkirk Triangle remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in the world of UFO phenomena. From quiet Scottish towns to ancient forests and hidden underground tunnels, this is a place where the ordinary brushes up against the extraordinary, where countless witnesses have stared skyward and wondered what truly watches back. Is it alien visitors quietly observing us? A secret military program testing technology far beyond public knowledge? Or something altogether stranger, something that challenges our understanding of reality itself? The answers remain elusive, buried beneath layers of silence and speculation. But one thing is certain. The people of the Falkirk Triangle live with the unknown every day. Their stories remind us that the world is far bigger and far more mysterious than we often believe.